Hi, everybody. Thank you guys for being here today. Before we even begin what we're talking about, so we've got a culture that's shrink-wrapped worship, and we have radio stations for worship. We have artists that are about worship. We've turned worship into a phenomenon that you can purchase, you can play in your radios. But overall in the church, there's kind of a lack of understanding about what we're really doing. What I'd like to do here is I want to teach a series that helps to develop worshiping people, worshiping leaders, worshiping churches. I really want to take worship off the platform, because worship isn't a thing that's performed. Worship is really what we become. Worship is a way that we live and that the Lord lives with us. So that's what we're doing, okay? Before we talk about what we do, though, and before we even define what worship is, I really want to back up a little bit. I don't like to talk about function before I talk about identity. So let's talk about identity before we talk about function, okay? So you guys may not know this, I've got a huge family. Well, not huge compared to some people, but I have 6 kids. For us, it's a huge family, right? So I typically would lead worship 5 times a weekend, which is a lot, you guys know. And by the time you're done with the weekend, you're just absolutely exhausted. So one weekend, I went into my bedroom and I laid down in my bed and I fell into that kind of sleep where your whole body begins to buzz, you know, and you just kind of sink into the bed and you become, 1,000-pound weight. I was completely passed out. And I was awakened by this bang, and I shot straight up, shocked because I was in a deep sleep. And I looked over to my right, and my little 2.5-year-old Sam was standing there in the doorway. He just kicked my door open, and he had his hands on his hips like this, and he was standing spraddle-legged in his underwear with a Superman cape on. And he goes, "I'm gonna kiss your bones off." And I go, "Bring it!" And he runs over and he jumps up on my bed, and we have a Royal Rumble, man. We have a wrestle kiss fest. Awesome, right? Like, only your children can get away with things like that, right? Imagine if my neighbor did the same thing. Imagine my neighbor standing in my doorway, kicking my door open when I'm in a deep sleep, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Listen, you'd have a completely different result. Our identity really matters. Only a child of God can come into deep intimacy with the Father, right? So it's important that we understand that we're children of God. But here's something else. Only a child of God can come into deep intimacy with the Father, but only a child of God who's a priest of God can lead somebody else into that deep intimacy with God. Get it? So look, this is one of the ways that the Bible identifies us. We're going to talk about it. This is a mega theme of the Bible, okay? A mega theme is a theme that runs from the beginning straight through to the end of the Bible. It's a foundational understanding that comes up again and again and again. It's one of the stories of the Bible. A mega theme, if you don't understand the mega theme, there are aspects of the Bible you just don't get yet. You know what I'm saying? So let's begin at the beginning. Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were created differently than any other animal, any other creature that God made. They were made out of 2 elements, right? Do you remember this? What was the first one?